So you're posting on social media consistently, or maybe you're not, maybe you ghosted, that's totally fine. But either way, you don't know if it's actually working. Like, are people seeing it? Should you post more? Less? Should you post something different? If you've ever stared at your analytics page and wondered, what the hell does this mean? This video is gonna be a game changer. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Here's the thing. Most small business owners are posting content, checking the numbers, but still have no clue what to do next. The likes go up, the likes go down, and you're just like, guessing. And that's not a you problem. It's just that no one really showed you how to make sense of all the data. But that changes today. I'm walking you through how I use Gemini to build a social media report that doesn't just show you the numbers, it interprets them and tells you exactly where to focus. No marketing degree required, no expensive tools, just Gemini, which is free by the way, and the right approach. And at the end of this video, I've got a free resource for you. It's the template of the HTML code and all the prompts that I used in a swipe file that you can run with and steal and replicate this report for yourself. So stick around for that, okay? Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and let's get into it. This is the hyphenate. So what you're gonna do is you're going to go to Gemini and you're going to ask it to open HTML. But before you hit enter, you're going to toggle it from tools to canvas. That's very important. Once it does that, you're gonna see that the chat moves to the left side, and on the right-hand side, you have the HTML file. You'll have the preview, but then you'll also be able to click code. Once you click code, you'll see a bunch of stuff that probably makes no sense to you. Delete it all. It's fine. You're going to copy and paste the HTML code that you get in the free resource. Again, linked at the bottom of this description. Once you do that, it'll refresh and the code will have a new look and feel. What you're going to ask it to do is to leave the menu and the sections, but to take out all the information and then to change it to your branding. So whatever your brand colors are, whatever your logo is, whatever your font is. Then I tell it that I want 6 different modules for performance overview, social media impressions, engagements, top performing posts, current social media trends on my chosen platforms that I should use, and what the next tactical steps are based on this data and insight. And again, you're probably not a social media manager, or even if you are, you want to be able to display this information in a way that would make sense to a social media client who doesn't understand all this hullabaloo, who doesn't understand the metrics and what this means. So you want to make sure that it's in layman's terms. So that's what I also ask it to do in the same prompt. Then I ask it to change the report name to social media report, because I find that sometimes it changes it. So just make sure it says social media report, change the date range to whatever you've chosen. I usually do 90 days. You can do 30, 60, 365. It's up to you. And then I change a client name depending on who I'm presenting it to. If it's for myself, I just say Jemilla the hyphenate. But if it's for another client, I'll just change it to their client name. And then again, I ask it to make sure that this is all neatly organized in the best way possible. You want to make sure it makes sense to your client. And then comes the point where you need to give it data. Okay, so quick interlude from future Jemilla, obviously. I just discovered that HeyOrca has some competitor research tools included in their pro plan. You can actually pick up to 10 competitors, look at their social media, look at their followers, their engagement, their posts and everything, and include that in your Gemini social media report. It takes a minute though. You have to wait up to 24 hours for stuff to populate. And if you just got added to HeyOrca, like if you just created an account, it might not show enough insight and research from the past 30 days. So you might have to wait a month. So in the future, you can do this if you start now, but just letting you know that if you do this, you can add it to your Gemini social media report and you get so much more insight, because not only will it give you insight about what to do next, but it'll take it from what your competitors are doing and create a plan to help you compete with them. So that was super cool. I just had to tell you that. And so sorry, I'm sucking on TikToks. Ignore that. But now let's go back to past Jemilla. Now, you might be using a scheduler. I used to use later.com. And my 9 to 5, we use HeyOrca. And now I use it. I literally just started using it this week, right? What's great about HeyOrca is that you can create a custom report for a certain date range, whatever you choose. And it aggregates all the data from all of your social profiles connected to your HeyOrca account. So for me, for example, I connect Instagram and LinkedIn. I don't connect my TikTok and my YouTube because on the plan that I have, which is the free plan, I can only connect 2 social profiles. What sucks is that since I just started this week, I cannot actually collect data from the past 90 days. So I had to do it manually, and you may have to too. Just go into each section. Again, you don't need to know what any of it means. Just write everything down. I used Hemingway Editor, open, document, and I was able to just type everything in, like Instagram, I had this many views or this many interactions and And I did the same for TikTok and YouTube, specifically my business Instagram, my personal TikTok page, and then my YouTube channel. But again, if you're using HeyOrca and if you have it for a certain amount of time, you can, pick a date range. It'll give you a custom report. It'll tell you like a summary at the top. It'll show you all the data, all your top performing posts, and then you can download it as a PDF or Excel file. And then you can upload that to this chat, which I would prefer. but if you have to do it manually, just type it all out. Make sure you're super specific and granular and you get all the information. Make sure you're comprehensive. Then you're going to ask it to replace the data in the report with this data. It may take a minute, and sometimes the chat likes to freak out. You might need to stop what you're doing in the chat, copy the code, the HTML code, open a new chat, and then start from the beginning where you ask it to open HTML and then toggle it to canvas. But since you're copying the code from the latest point in your last chat, it'll still show you everything that you've done so far, but sometimes you have to open a new chat. I don't know why it does that. But anyways, the next step is I want it to have more conversational language. I make that clear, right? So I ask the Gemini chat to do that. And then I want it to be tailored to my brand voice. If you are a social media manager, this is definitely good for you. If you are presenting to your clients, your brand voice is always going to be constant no matter who you're presenting to, which client you're reporting on. But even if you're just doing this for your own small business and you want it to sound more like you, this is fun to do. So you can link a brand voice guide, but you can also just link a piece of long form content that shows your brand voice in the best way. And so for this, for example, I linked my blog post that I literally just posted today, March 9th, 2026, because I feel like it's the best representation of my brand voice. And it is a beefy piece of content. Like, it shows a lot. So I just linked that because I thought it was good. And it definitely sounded more like me once I did that. And then from there, I just kind of customized the report. For example, anytime it showed Instagram data, I wanted it to be in pink, for TikTok purple, for YouTube red. And then I added my logo. And here's the thing that's weird. You have to link an image. You can upload a video to the chat, no problem. But if you want to add an image to this report, you have to link to it. So for example, if you go to your website and you want to have your logo or your client's logo or whatever, you have to right click over the logo or whatever image that you're using and say open image in a new tab, and then copy the URL in that tab. And that's the only way Gemini will be able to read that image and include it in the report. It's so weird. I don't know why it's like that, but just wanted to make that clear for you. With videos though, you can upload them, but images, I guess not. I don't know why it's being, weird to images, being a little bit, a little bit rude, Gemini. Anyway, I keep, customizing it to my liking. I wanted to add GIFs to certain sections. I wanted to add emojis as well. And then I wanted to also show my top performing posts. Like, it showed it, and I linked it when I was typing it out in Hemingway Editor. My top performing post, I actually linked to each post, but again, it just did it weird. So I just downloaded the videos because those were my top performing posts. And then for the Instagram stories, I just found the image on the company's website. So for example, my top performing Instagram story was me resharing that I'm going to a conference at the end of the month. And so I just found the picture that I reshared on my story on that company's Instagram. And then I just opened that image in a new tab because that was really what I wanted to showcase, because I knew that it would be that Instagram story, right? For my purposes. Did that for all of the posts so I could show it. And what's great is that when you actually download this report, it actually lets you play the videos, which is really cool. But then I get to the second last step where I ask it to add more tactical next steps, because what it does at the beginning, even though I asked it to add tactical next steps at the beginning of this whole journey, it's still too broad. It's still too generic. So when I ask it to do this again, it gives me more specific and comprehensive next steps that I can actually act on. Like, oh yeah, let's do this. This tells me exactly what to do. It really makes a world of difference. And then finally, I ask it to have the report design mimic my website design. Even though it did a good job, with the branding guidelines that I gave it earlier in the chat, I find if I link my website, it still tailors it a little bit more to look like my website. And then once I've done all that, I can copy the code. So go off preview, go to code. You're going to copy all of that. Then you're going to go to onlinenotepad.io. You're going to paste that code, and then you're going to download it as a text file. There's a process to this. Let me explain. Once you've downloaded that text file, you're going to go to convertio.co. You're going to add that text file, and you're going to convert it to an HTML file. Download that, go to your folder where you had the downloads, and you're going to drag it into your web browser as if you're adding it beside a window. And that is how you'll be able to actually view the report as if it's a website, which is so cool. And just for reference, this is mine. Obviously, this sounds a lot more like me than just generic AI slop, but it just shows all of my metrics in a great way. I love the summary section. And again, I tailored it to my personality, my vibe. Love the GIF of Tiana Taylor. It's perfect, obviously. But this just helps me visualize everything so well. And even as a social media manager for my small business, I didn't do this. I did not do this. I did not have the time to do it. I didn't spend the time. But now that I'm able to create this report in Gemini, it saves me so much time and it gives me like a clear path. I got to see where I came from, been doing great, but now I get to see where I could go if I use these tactical next steps, which is so cool. I can see all the growth that I have. I can see my target audience, my viewership, my interactions, my top performing posts, which I love to see, that I'm dominating GEO and search. We love to see that. And then what I need to implement in Q2. And a lot of this honestly is what I was already planning to do, but it's cool to see because a lot of y'all on YouTube watch this on TV, probably like your Roku TV or whatever, what have you, that I should create content that's more cinematic. I already wanted to start creating content that was more cinematic. So this just helps me solidify that desire. I know that people love my personality and that I should use that to leverage my LinkedIn B2B authority, which again, I'm trying to grow LinkedIn. If you don't follow me or are not connected with me on LinkedIn, my link is in the description. Let's become LinkedIn friends. How about that? I also just created a broadcast channel for my membership called Monthly Content Days. It's for creators and small business owners that want to step up their content game. And I wanted to create a place for all of us to communicate that wasn't via the Notion portal that I created for this. So I created an Instagram broadcast channel, but it's cool that it told me that I should create another one for my core followers. And so I was thinking of creating an Instagram broadcast channel for my newsletter subscribers because I have a newsletter called the Tuesday Tea. It sends every Tuesday. And there's these guys that run this account called Best of Marketing. They have a Substack newsletter. It gets sent to your inbox, and then they have an Instagram broadcast channel. So I thought, why don't I do something like that where people who are subscribed to my newsletter get to also join my Instagram broadcast channel, and I would send stuff every day as opposed to just every week in my Tuesday Tea newsletter. And that is specific to people who are only subscribed to my email newsletter just to give them an extra added community element. And unfortunately, even though I had like 400 visits in the past 3 months, my link taps were very low comparatively. So it says that I need to audit my bio CTA. And honestly, my Instagram bio is the hardest thing I have to work with. Like, I find that the hardest thing to work on, the hardest thing to perfect and nail down. And I've been working on it several times and have had several iterations. So the fact that I've had low link taps honestly does not surprise me, but I need to figure out how to improve this. So this is great that it's just, reminding me, y'all, you need to work on your stuff, girl. So, and just like that, now you know how to turn that social media data into something that actually means something. No more guessing, no more staring at numbers that don't make sense. You got a real report and a real direction. Now, again, I've been talking about a freebie. I promised it. It's in the description. It's got the HTML code that I use for this report. It's a template. You can just copy and paste it into Gemini, and all the prompts that I used in the chat to get it to the point where it was a good final social media report. If you like this video and thought, wow, this was a lifesaver, please share it with another small business owner. Comment what you loved about this video, what you plan to do next. Ask me any questions if you're trying to use this code and trying to do it in Gemini, but it's not working for you. I'm all ears and I'm here to help you. And subscribe to my channel, please, please, please. It means the world to me and it's free for you. I hope you enjoyed this video and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Talk later.